Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Rhea Jones. I am a 2019 Woodside graduate, and I'm a student at Howard University, and I am very excited to be sharing this afternoon with you all, as well as with our wonderful panelists I have with us. We have Dr. Banks, we've got Doc Kelly or Miss Virginia. We also have Dr. Scott and Kiana Patterson with us here to have an awesome discussion for our topic with today. So if I'll let my panelists introduce ourselves. Dr. Banks, would you like to go ahead and give us a quick intro as to who you are?
Sure. I am a proud graduate of Denby High School. I don't normally tell what year I graduated, but I'll tell you guys since I love you, 1997. I then went on to Florida A&M. I'm a proud Rattler and am now a business owner. I have a global research consulting firm and am also a speaker worldwide. And I'm glad to be here to share with you your greatness and your brilliance and how not to be derailed by the stuff you see online. So thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome, awesome. Very excited to have you. And Ms. Dot Kelly or Miss Virginia, if you can introduce yourself to us as well.
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here today. My name is Dot Kelly, and I am from Hampton, Virginia, and I grew up dancing here in Newport News, Virginia. So this is very nostalgic for me to be here today speaking with you all. I graduated from Kecoughtan High School in about 2015, and I'm currently attending Shenandoah University. I graduated there in 2018 with my bachelor's degree in dance, and I'm currently pursuing my master's of science in performing arts leadership and management. And I have found myself working for the Miss America organization, empowering women to empower other women. And I am just so honored and blessed to have the title of Miss Virginia and to continue to make a social impact throughout our wonderful Commonwealth. So that's what I am currently doing. And someday soon, once the pandemic is over, I am hoping to move up to New York City and pursue my professional dance career. So I'm so honored to be here, and I am just honored to be amongst an amazing panel of other accomplished women.
And we feel so honored to have you here with us today as well. Thank you so much, Ms. Virginia. Next up, we have Dr. Chantel Scott. Could you introduce yourself to us, please?
Good afternoon. I am greeting you from my classroom where I teach high school English in New Jersey, but I am also a consultant, and I spend much of my time doing things like this, which is my passion, teaching women and girls like yourselves to believe in their selfies. So I think that that is truly important. Using your voice, present the way that you present yourself. And I am just super, oh, I forgot to mention, I have something called the hashtag This Is Me movement. I'm actually wearing this shirt right now, where it's about using your voice, believing in your selfie, and how to present yourself in an empowering way on social media. So I am so happy to be here and meet you all.
We're happy to have you here with us as well. And last but certainly not least, we have Miss Kiana Patterson. Could you introduce yourself to us too? Hi.
Hello. Hey, good afternoon. I'm Kiana Patterson. I'm from Newport News, and I graduated from Warwick High School in 2011. And Miss Adams was one of my teachers while I was there. I went on and went to ODU, graduated from there with a Bachelor of Science in Communications. I interned at Wavy TV, and then I moved away to South Carolina as a reporter in the Myrtle Beach area. I was there for 2 years, and I did everything. I was my own camera woman. I was my own editor, my own engineer, my own everything. I worked out of a bureau down there, which is basically like a satellite office. And then I moved back home here, and now I'm the morning reporter at Wavy TV 10.
Yep. So if any of you guys you thought Miss Patterson looked familiar, is because you've seen her in the morning on Wavy 10 News. Pretty cool. Well, thank you again for introducing yourselves. And once again, it is an honor to have you all here. And I'm very excited for today's discussion. So let's hop right in. The first question, one thing you guys kind of mentioned across the board was social media and social footprint and imprints and things like that. So one of the biggest questions I have is just about the positive and negative impacts about social media. We see it all the time, right? We're always on Instagram. There's Twitter ads, YouTube ads on our favorite TV shows. Facebook is everywhere. In what ways do you guys think that positively and negatively impacts our lives and the way we view ourselves and the women around us and our relationships with the people that we surround ourselves with?
I can take a go at that. I'm an entrepreneur. I took the path less traveled. Many people who pursue the same degrees that I have, ultimately up to a PhD, decide to be professors. And I knew that I wanted to be 50% in the classroom. I wanted to be 50% with my people in the community. But part of me growing my business and making it visible to other people is being on social media. So I had to create, there's a Bobby Banks website and Bobby Banks handles across every platform. There's a Pillar Consulting, my research company, and there's a Not a Host Now website that is my COVID-19 campaign. Part of that is me being my authentic self. I can only be me, right? And the only thing that I can put out on these pages is my brilliance, the same things that you have. I'm a creative. I'm very good at translating information. Like, what does asymptomatic mean, right? Breaking things down like that. But one of the things that I had a lot of tension with, my Bison friend, my Howard Bison friend, was being authentic, right? And so, oh, you need to go get your eyelashes and your eyebrows done, and you got to take pictures here and there. Why? I don't do this on a normal day. I just put on lip gloss and flip-flops. That's all I have for you. And so part of the tension for me with growing my business was knowing the image that you have to show the world, that you wake up off of your pillow with your makeup already on your face, and things like that, because that's not who I am. That's not what my brand represents. So it's a tension that I had probably for the first 5 years. I'm celebrating 7 years at the end of this month. So the first 5 was really kind of what we're talking about on this panel. Like, well, who am I? Like, I can show you who I am, and it's the girl in yoga pants and flip-flops, but that's not going to amplify my business. And so a positive thing is that we can use this as Black girls, as white girls, as Latino girls to grow whatever we have in our mind, planting a seed and helping it to grow. The other piece of that, the negative side you talked about, is you get into this possible place where you're comparing yourself to other people and you're being someone you're not, right? And what we know is that comparison is the thief of joy. You want something to snatch your joy every morning? Pick this up first and put this down last, right? And so those are things that I have to still teeter on, trying to grow my businesses, plural, in a virtual space, but also being authentic as to who I am. And I mean, most people know, like, you just gonna get this side of Bobby, no eyebrows drawn in and maybe some lipstick. That's all I got for you. So that's me.
Right. And kind of as you said, we put a lot of emphasis on the things that we see in social media and the kinds of women and beautiful women that we're looking at when we open Instagram and Twitter, with the lashes and the makeup and the hair and everything. Sometimes it can get a little bit hard to find our own image of ourselves and how we really feel. I know, Miss Kelly, being Miss Virginia, there is also a lot of emphasis on you about image and making sure that you are putting your best foot forward in front of a lot of people. Now, how do you make sure that the image that you're presenting matches up with your own authentic, true self-image too? Because we don't want to just put on an image for Instagram and then have a different face in front of our friends. We want to make sure that we're always being our authentic selves. So dealing with image, how does Miss Kelly, how do you help balance image and professional image and things like that, while also staying true to your own personal image and who you are as a person?
I think the answer to that is just so multifaceted, because I grew up in a period when social media was so new. I remember Facebook just being a place where you posted funny cat videos, and it's just morphed and evolved into this entirely new beast that unfortunately our young people are having to rapidly adapt and grow with that change. And I remember having, so many conversations with my parents and really self-reflecting on how there is a balance between social media being a representation of your brand, as Dr. Banks said, of your personal business. It is a wonderful tool that you can use to outreach so many people. But at the same time, how can you be authentic with it, and how can you be realistic with it? How can you use your own personal voice to speak on issues that you care about, and have that reflect your best foot forward, right? So I think that there is a balance that I often have to teeter and totter with when I manage the Miss Virginia social media pages, of making sure that, you know, I'm representing the most powerful part about being a woman, representing confidence, representing truth, representing, you know, just so many wonderful things, while also showing my younger audiences that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that play behind the scenes, and that social media isn't the realist image that you see. So I think it's a balance. I think it's recognizing that social media isn't real, and embracing your authentic self, and then finding ways to be kind, true, and necessary whenever you make a post.
Definitely. And one of the things you mentioned, you know, you said social media, this isn't real. Now, Dr. Scott and then Miss Patterson, you guys might be able to say anything about more about that, but I know, Dr. Scott, you have your whole This Is Me movement. So with keeping in mind social media, you know, it isn't real, and the whole This Is Me movement, could either of you guys have any input for our girls as to another, maybe even things that they can do or things to keep in mind as they're growing up in this, and they're evolving in this social media climate, just things they can keep in the back of their head to remember that, hey, this isn't real. I'm going to show you that this is me, not what everybody else is posting or what I think should be me. This is me.
So, like has already been said, I believe that social media is a new opportunity, well, new, so to speak, for connection and mindfulness. So at hashtag This Is Me, we believe in taking selfies, but I like to call it a mindset selfie. So when you take a mindset selfie, you S, stop, E, erase the negativity, L, look around, F, find joy in what is. And then the most important part is to I, inhale, and E, exhale. And then post that picture or do whatever it is that you need to do. But if you're in the right mindset, that selfie mindset, when you come to social media or you stand in front of your class or you are at a job interview, it applies. It's about believing in the person that is within. And the key part is finding joy in what is, erasing the negativity, the negative thoughts that are pouring into your head as you are scrolling social media. And it's like, you know what? It doesn't have to be me. And then no matter what picture you post, whether you use a filter or no filter, if you go into it with the right mindset, you're all good. So I believe in actually taking selfies, but the mindset selfie.
Definitely. Oh,
And
go ahead.
I'll just piggyback off of Dr. Banks when she says, you know, comparison is the thief of joy. I think the big thing is to make sure that you're not comparing yourself to someone else, looking to them and saying, like, oh, she has it all. Like, oh, she's so beautiful. Oh, she has this. This is just a snapshot of one of her good days. So if that's how you look at it, that's the biggest thing. But for me, I found a cause that I'm very passionate about after I lost one of my really good friends. So what I use my social media for, specifically my Instagram, is promoting awareness about domestic violence, recognizing the signs of abuse, of control, toxic relationships, and that does include friends as well. So recognizing when your friends are not necessarily your friends, they don't have your best interest, they don't see you for who you are, and it's okay to leave them alone. You don't have to be mean, you don't have to be nasty, you don't have to yell, scream, any of that. You could just distance yourself and go your own way. And I think that that's the key, is recognizing that, you know, you are valued, you're important, and you are seen. And it's just a matter of surrounding yourself around those people that also reflect that for you.
Definitely, definitely. You know, part of building up yourself and building your own self-esteem and loving yourself is making sure that the circle that you surround yourself with loves you for you too. You don't want to put all that emphasis on and that positive energy on yourself, but you're surrounding yourself with the energy that might not be best for you, because that's not going to help you it might not help you at the end of the day to get to where you need to evolve to as a strong and powerful individual. Now that kind of leads into my next question, and actually it's more geared towards you, Miss Patterson, as well as Miss Virginia. So as a girl, you know, sometimes we can be our own worst critics when we take pictures because we're out with our friends and then, you know, we see them later. Oh, I don't look as good as I thought I did. Or when we have a project coming up or even on a Zoom meeting and we're looking in the camera, we can be our own worst critics. My eyebrows aren't done. My lipstick is off. Both of you guys are, you know, Ms. Patterson, you're on the news every morning. Everybody sees your face. And Miss Kelly, you Miss Virginia, your face is all over promotionals. I mean, you represent the state. So how do you guys deal with some of those challenging moments with being your own worst critic when it comes to just overcoming personal mountains and hills and things like that?
I know Dr. Scott mentioned inhale, exhale. That is the key. Breathe. Just breathe and recognize this is temporary. You know, I can't tell you how many times I mess up in a live shot and it's, you know, everybody's watching in the morning and they're like, what's going on? You know, I can't tell you how many times I am a human. I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to share information. And, you know, sometimes you just have to kind of like let it roll off your back. Okay, I'll try again tomorrow. You know, okay, let me go vent to my mom, cry to my mom, and, you know, I'll be okay in a second. So I think that that is the key. And also on social media, I know people can be very mean. People can be very mean in the comment section, directly in my DMs, emailing me, I mean, ripping me apart appearance-wise. But that's why they have report, ban, blocked. They have all of these features now that you can just, I don't even have to read it. I don't even have to see it. I already know where this is going. And no, thank you, because I don't deserve that.
And I think this particular topic has been very relevant throughout my life, just being in dance competitions and just being in pageants in general that are very subjective and very harsh sometimes when it comes to those critiques, that you often become your own worst critic, trying to pinpoint things that you think that other people will perceive or see. And that's something that, you know, I feel like anyone can relate to, and that anyone has struggled to some extent with. And I think it's human nature too, to be that creature of comparison, as Dr. Banks introduced earlier, of trying to compare yourself to unrealistic standards or unrealistic images. And for a more personal example of this, being Korean American and just being raised with a very different lens and perspective on life, I often looked different from my peers and my classmates. And there were so many obstacles in my life that came from that. And then I started comparing myself to the images I saw of my friends and being like, okay, I need to change this about myself. And it wasn't until college that I started to realize that it was really affecting me. First of all, it felt like this huge weight, but it was also affecting my actions in my everyday life. Like I would dye my hair certain colors to match what I thought was the traditional beauty standard, or I would wear colored contacts in my eyes to look similar to what I thought was beautiful. I think it's really powerful to recognize that you define what is beautiful, that no person can tell you your worth, no person can tell you that you're beautiful. Only you can determine that. And when you take ownership of that, that's where the confidence happens. That's where that natural confidence of I got this every day happens. But that only begins when you take that time to self-reflect on who you are and what you represent and own that. And that's just the most valuable advice that I can give to anyone. So.
Definitely, definitely no. I remember I played violin and I've been singing since second grade. So even with my own arts experience, always performing and critiquing myself, thinking, oh, I could have done this better. Oh, I was 2 beats off, but I caught up, but I could have done that on time, and always comparing myself to others. And once you realize that you are your own boss and you don't need to compare yourself to others to prove that you are great, then it completely, as you said, it feels like a burden gets lifted off you. But sometimes getting to that point can be a little bit hard. And one of the biggest things that can determine that are the relationships we have with other people, not just our friends, but even our family members as well. So, and this really is for anybody as well. Would you say would be the best way to navigate the impact that our family members and our close friends can have on shaping our own self-esteem?
I have 3 words that I'm also a adjunct professor at UNC in Chapel Hill. I'm a huge proponent of questioning things, and not in a disrespectful way, but according to whom. I even put that on papers that I grade, according to whom. And so when I remember being a freshman at FAMU, and I had a relaxer, I had the Holly Berry do before I had this beautiful, glorious crown. And I remember the beautician telling me that I had a great texture of hair, right? And I went back and told a family member this. And I mean, when I tell you, like, comedic tears, and at the time I didn't really understand it, but that's deeply rooted psychology, right? That the hair that grows out of your scalp is not beautiful. I bet you these waves are tight today. Anyway, so as women in this world where we're being showing images of other people and standards of beauty, I just need you to answer one question for me: according to whom, right? So my lips need to look a certain way, according to whom? I need to walk into this professional environment wearing pants or a skirt and not pants, according to whom? And if you can give me, I'm a researcher, if you can give me receipts, we're good. But if this is some cultural sensation that some old decrepit looking like what's his name, the crypt keeper made up decades ago, then we need to get to the source and find out why we've all been brainwashed, right? And so what I love about my friends, we all have questions like that, according to whom? And it's down to a lot of things that we do socially, right? For me, I'm a cheapskate. I shouldn't call it cheapskate. I'm frugal, right? And so I need to know, I work too hard for my money. So just explain to me why we have to have 5 celebrations before the wedding. Why do we have to have a bridal shower, bridal this, bridal come to, skate, da, da, da. And I'm fine if you could explain to me why. I'm 42 years old. No one can explain this to me, why we do all of these things, right? So it's not my resistance against the culture, but it's really like, who said this? Like, who said this? And I have brilliant women around me who also have those same sorts of questions. Who said a woman can't be a doctor? Who said a woman can't start her own business? Who said a woman can't start her own hair care line? Who said a woman can't, do you know what I mean? And so just really asking those questions, and not in a confrontational way, in a very, very clear, who, like Coming to America, if you saw the first one, who told you that, right? Who told you that? And so I surround myself with brilliant people to the point of where, like, I have quotes on my laptop of what my best friends have said. And I have a friend, when I started my business, it was like, I got to tell you, Bobby, and it was perfect. It was going along with exactly what we're talking about, Ms. Jones, what you're supposed to be doing on social media. And so for the first 5 years, I'm like, I got to produce this, I got to produce this. And she's like, I got to tell you, Bobby, you've been running businesses in person all your life. You have a personality like no one else I know. So why are you doing what they said? And I was like, because that's what they said. They experts, they're published on Forbes. I made more money, and I don't mean to be superficial, but I was able to create more jobs in the pandemic sitting at this desk than I did with all of the recommendations on social media, all of the eyelashes and eyeliner and everything else. And I'm not knocking it. I'm proud that I know how to draw my eyebrows now. I've graduated, I'm good. But it is surrounding myself with people that say, well, I know that's their standard, but you're a beast. You can stand in a room and command a check. So why don't you just do what you know you should do? And so that's how I challenge not only the norms related to beauty, but the norms related to the spaces and places that I'm supposed to be in. Just tell me according to whom. That's all I got for you. Question mark. That's it.
That's amazing. And definitely as women, and I feel like as women, just in general, no matter how old we are, that's something that we almost do without thinking of it. Okay, well, I'm about to go to a job interview, so I need to wear this skirt with these heels, and I need to do my hair like this. And I've never done eyebrows a day in my life, but I need to do my eyebrows for this interview. When really, who said we had to do that? Who says that we can't walk into an interview and present the best forms of who we are without adding anything else and not get that job? Who said you had to have a perfect bun to get your dream job at Google? When really, what we need to be focusing on is presenting the best versions of ourselves, of our authentic selves, wherever we go. If it's a job interview, if it's a presentation at class, if it's a presentation on Zoom, as long as we focus on presenting ourselves and not worrying about that mystical person that said that we have to go into a job interview with a skirt and heels on, being worried that we showed up with pants instead. And now I do want to remind the participants too that you guys can ask questions as well. We want to make sure that we're answering what any questions that you have or addressing any concerns. So you can just hop into the Q&A and go ahead and throw your questions on, and we're looking, and we'll try to get it answered for you guys. Now, any of my other panelists, did you have anything to add on to what Dr. Banks said, or anything else, any words of advice you might want to give the girls when it comes to this topic?
I did. Oh, Dr. Scott, you can go ahead. Oh, so like the only thing that I had thought of when we were talking about this particular topic of presenting yourself and changing up beauty standards and beauty norms to represent who we authentically are. I just have found it so interesting with the many changes that have happened to Miss America. When you think of Miss America, you think of course, I got the crown with me, the traditional crown, the sash, the pageants, the dresses, the pageantry of it all, right? So you think of, in many ways, like the superficial image of a woman. And I feel like there are so many changes that have happened with the Miss America organization in where we are stepping away from that. Now, as Miss Virginia, I've been very grateful to be almost a part of that image and that change of a woman doesn't need to come in with a dress in order to be professional. A pantsuit works just as fine. And I remember receiving a criticism, and I do something called the Miss Virginia School Tour, which is a partnership with the Virginia ABC, where I go directly into elementary schools and teach kids how to be leaders. I remember receiving a criticism on one of my reports that said Miss Virginia came in so unprofessional. She came in ballerina flats and pants, and we were expecting something else. And I think it's really important to recognize that we are still breaking down barriers today, and that, you know, it is at times difficult to meet those standards head on, things that you would expect to be 70 years ago, the standard. So I just want to remind all the listeners that the glass ceilings still exist. It is your responsibility and your role to continue breaking them confidently, but knowing that you have the responsibility of enacting that change for the women that come after you. So that was something personally that I reflected on once I received that critique. And I think that we can all learn from that and learn and be powerful in that there's so many glass ceilings that we still need to break, that I think isn't equal and wonderful. There's still a lot of work to be done. And I think that there are so many leaders, future leaders in this virtual space right now who will be a part of that change. So I challenge each and every one of you to be the person who breaks that next glass ceiling, because we still have a lot of work to do.
Most definitely. Dr. Scott, did you have something you wanted to add on?
I did. One thing that I've learned over the course of the years is that perfection is simply boring. And your male counterparts, they don't care anything about being perfect. No one expects them to be perfect. They just do stuff. Personally, I know that, you know, it's like, oh, am I good enough to apply for this job? And I'm looking at the criteria, and my male counterpart is like, of course I'm good enough. And they just go ahead and do it. But that's with everything. And so over the years, when I stopped trying to be so perfect, when I stopped trying to just do what other people expected me to do, I became more alive. But I also started to become what I like to, well, what everyone calls a diva, but in a good way. I had an empowered voice. I was unapologetically fierce, and I would go in and just prove people wrong. So it's really just about, it's like, I don't need to be perfect. I'm just going to, we have different voices, and sometimes it's a quiet, fearless voice. It's like, I'm not perfect. I'm just going to show you what I can do. So just don't be boring. Your quirks are amazing. Wear your flats. If you want to toss the eyelashes on, do it, but you don't have to. I've been on camera doing speeches and like a lash is like half off. I'm like, you know what? But I look good anyway. So it's, you don't have to be perfect. So be a diva, unapologetically fierce, and just prove them wrong.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's really a big one. Once that's really, you hit it right on the nail. Now, we are talking a lot about, just be unapologetic about who you are, live fearlessly, live boldly. One question that I'm seeing that the girls are asking, and even one I have for myself, is, along the way, it's inevitable that we're going to meet people who are going to try to tell us opposite, right? Who are going to try to tell us, no, you're just a little bit too loud. That shirt that you wore is the wrong shirt for this. No, you shouldn't put your opinion on this. You're not ready yet. How, as women and as empowered women, can we move forward from people trying to break our spirit, or people trying to tell us that we're not good enough for a particular job, or we don't meet the qualifications to get that scholarship or to get that internship? What are some tools and some tips that you guys maybe can give to us to move forward from that, not only in a good way, but with grace and with confidence still in ourselves, that yes, we are good enough to get this job. Yes, I am good enough to get this promotion, and nobody's going to tell me otherwise.
You want me to throw out another question? I'll let somebody else go.
So the answer, yes. I'm looking at her question. Has anyone tried to stop you or break your spirit? And the answer is yes. Very vividly, when I hear this question, I'm almost triggered. I'm like, oh. So my first reporter job in South Carolina, I had a boss that was trying to break my spirit, was just on me. I never could do anything right. Everything was wrong. And it was just, she would call me all day long. I would just get to my camera log and it'd just be missed calls all the way up. It was very hard and difficult to work in that environment. But I worked so hard to get out of that environment. That's what the key for me was. I just put my head down. I did the work. I kept a paper trail, because she was a boss, she was a superior, and I just made it happen. But if you can't leave a situation, I would definitely try to vent to someone, talk with someone, seek someone, to help you in that situation, because you don't have to suffer in silence, suffer alone. There is always a way out. This is always temporary, and it will always get better.
I agree. And what you have to know is that you were born to be great. You have to believe that in your heart, right? And know that you were not created to be a carbon copy of anyone else. And I don't mean this in that's real, that you were created to be great. And anyone that tells you otherwise, you have to, again, go back to questions as to why. Did you create me? How can you predict how great I'm going to be based on a test score or based on my engagement in class? You don't know what's in my brain. You don't know the gifts and talents that I have. At Denby High School, I can't say, I ran for everything, y'all. I was in Spanish club, I played the bass drum, I ran track, I was in this club, that club. My senior year, I ran for student government president. And I'm very creative. And so we went to the candy store and we had, you be extra sure that you're voting for Bobby, and we had extra gum, or you have every reason to vote for Bobby, and we had the reason candy. I won the election, and before I could even get home, a teacher in the school expressed concern about me being president. I've never been in your class, ma'am. I've never been in your class. So what is it about me and my shine and my light that is threatening to you? I'm a 17-year-old child, and you've expressed to the leader above what I would be the president of that you have concerns about. What? I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant. And I didn't own that until literally in the last 5 years. I say it any stage I'm on, I'm a brilliant Black woman, because no one taught me otherwise or embedded that in me otherwise, other than my mother. And I grew up in a great household. We did the Cosby Show and everything, but I had the same images of beauty, of where I was supposed to be, where I was not supposed to be, not because someone spoke it to me, but I was bombarded with it from the moment right? And so you have to go back to those same questions. Why are you so invested in breaking me down? Am I a threat to you? Why am I a threat to you? Right? And so what I shared with you about my journey 7 years ago is that where I wanted to be was 50% in that classroom, 50% in the community. Everyone was like, well, that doesn't exist here. Okay, well, I'm creative. I didn't know how I was going to create it, but I'm going to create it. And I had people literally take my resume, the same resume that I applied with to get into a particular program, a year later, attack that same resume. And so you have to question, what changed? What changed from here to here? And you don't internalize or make that a personal issue. That is someone else's issue. Or as my mentor told me, people are walking around with monkeys on their backs. Tell them to keep their monkeys. I don't want your monkey on your back. So you have to continue to tell yourself that you are great and wonder why people are spending the energy to break you down. That's not about you. That's not about you. That's about them. So start asking questions. You're like, why exactly are these people trying to break me down? I'm not out here trying to do something that's against humanity. I'm trying to make the world better. Why are you so invested in breaking me down? That's not you. That's them.
Definitely. And even I can speak for that personally. No, as back in high school, my senior year, I ran for Newport News Public Schools student rep to the school board. And I was involved in a lot of other things. And in that process, I was confronted by a colleague, and I was told that I had no business running for the position. My colleague was better qualified, and that as a woman, I would be better off if I just served on an elected board or was a member of an elected board instead. And I did the same. It kind of hit my confidence, in all honesty. Then I sat back and I started to question myself. I started to question my capabilities and even my confidence in how I felt about myself. And I thought to myself, well, is that true? Am I really less qualified? Is there really better qualified candidates? I said, wait, no, I'm not going to let somebody else take down my shine. I'm confident in myself. I know my light shines bright, and I know that my light deserves to touch everything I deem I want to touch. My goals should be accomplished. And I said, well, wait a minute. And then I'm not going to let somebody else who isn't me, who doesn't know me, to tear down my light and tear down my confidence. And that was a really big thing for me to get past, was realizing that just because somebody tears me down or somebody is investing energy into stopping me from getting to my goals doesn't mean that that energy needs to take root in how I think about myself and the way I think about my accomplishments and my dreams. And that kind of goes right into the question I see we have from one of our attendees, and it's actually from Ms. Kelly, was when somebody we mentioned earlier about people commenting on social media, and again, people's trying to tear you down or break you from your goals. When that happened, did you feel upset? Like, how did that make you feel? And once you recognize those feelings, how did you move forward it? And was it okay for you to be upset with that person?
I think in general, any sort of critique or criticism, you need to analyze the intent behind it. If it's coming from a place of love and this person wants you to grow and succeed, then it's valuable. It's valuable to listen to a critique. Maybe you could do something different, or it just opens your mind to exploring new potentials and possibilities. Now, if it's coming from a place of hatred or just jealousy, or something that is beyond your control, then it's not really relevant to you. And something that I've been impacted on and grow is that as an Asian American Miss Virginia, I have received quite a few of those comments or personal messages that have nothing to do with helping me grow or succeed, but are in ways just plain racism. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt, and back to knowing who you surround yourself with, who is in that friend group or that circle of people that you can count on. And they should all be people who want to help you grow, who are determined to help you be the best person that you can be. If they're tearing you down for something superficial or artificial, then girl, bye. But for real, that is something that I've definitely had to learn in my professional life, in my personal life, and that is just a valuable nugget of information that I think is really relevant to all of us who are still in high school too, is you guys are still learning who to surround yourselves with, what is a healthy relationship, who are people in your life that will help you grow and succeed, and just really reflect on that. Because it's okay to say goodbye to a relationship or somebody who is bringing toxicity or who is tearing you down and stopping you and preventing you from reaching your higher goals, dreams, or aspirations.
Definitely, definitely. And the other part too with that is, a lot of times it's less about somebody saying, oh, you're just not good enough, or, oh, are you sure you really want to pursue this dream or this goal? To then somebody might even go so far as to say, oh, I mean, you can do it, but you're not good enough to really get acknowledgement for it. You can try, but nobody's really going to see your artwork. Nobody's going to want to see you come dance. How can we get past then when those kinds of attacks, those kinds of, oh, you can do what you want, but just know that nobody's really going to like it. Nobody's really going to care.
I have two very relevant stories to this particular topic. I love sharing the fact that I applied to 6 or 7 different colleges after I graduated as a senior from high school. And I remember receiving rejection letters and phone calls galore, saying that I wasn't accepted, not because of my academic ability, but because of my talent. And that's something that I've had to encounter going to an art school, of all things, that is very, very subjective. So I ended up getting accepted into my school that I have graduated from. And there were some trials and tribulations that I personally had to face. Growing up, I was not the most talented dancer. I had to work so hard at home on my technique, on my stretching capabilities. It wasn't something that came naturally to me. So I remember going into my dance program, and it was a very competitive program. Lots of talents from all over the country, and just, it was a very competitive environment. And I remember being put into a situation where I wanted to elevate from the degree track that I was currently in, and being told by one of my professors, as well as some of my classmates, that you really should consider a career backstage, or you really should consider staying in the boat that you were born into. That was the exact verbiage that I had received. Wow. And my only dream and aspiration was to achieve another degree track, a degree track that was more secular in regards to dance performance, as opposed to being dance performance and fine arts. So that was a reality that I had to face, and it was very difficult. I have to say that was one of the most difficult points in my life, of being a 12-year trained dancer and just being told, maybe you should work backstage, or maybe your talents are best used off the stage, especially since that was my second year in the program, and to hear that from a professor that I really respected. So I think it's really wonderful that in life we are faced with so many challenges, and it's those challenges where we find the most personal growth, where we find that persistence is powerful. And in those moments where people are determined to maybe break us and steer us into another trajectory, those are the moments where we need to rise, and we need to ask, why are you making these assumptions about me? And persistence isn't easy. It takes a lot of hard work. And in response to that feedback that I had received from that professor, I enrolled myself in twice as many technique classes. I enrolled myself in choreography classes galore. I put in the work to demonstrate I am here for a reason. And even though I may not have the God-given natural ability that some other dancers have, I am a hard worker. And I think there was a speech from Michelle Obama where she was saying that hard workers rise above natural talent. And that's just something that has been so valuable. So after receiving that feedback, I of course graduated college. I had put in the work. I had told myself I would not be broken down. And then I booked my first professional job out of college. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you're experiencing some hardships or you're being told no multiple times, take it with a grain of salt, grow from that circumstance and situation, and rise to the occasion, because the underdogs have the best success stories.
Most definitely, most definitely. Now, we're talking a lot being just in a slightly older age group than a lot of our participants about, okay, well, when you get through life, when you do this, when this happens, the more you grow, the more you mature. What are, one of the things that I can't help but think to myself is look at where I am now and look at where I was when I was like 17 and just think, wow, if only I would have if I would have told myself this, if only I had somebody to tell me this. I think one of the biggest things that I look back when I was 17 compared to now is I wish that I would have been told, relax, you got this, you are strong, you are capable, you work hard, you are going to get exactly what you achieve for. And it's crazy how the more you go about life and the more you learn about how to empower yourself and the more you realize about how you are as a person, how much more confident you can get. So that being in mind, what are some things that looking back, you guys would say to your 17-year-old self? Some advice or comments or anything like that you wish you would have told yourself or had in the back of your mind when you were about 16, 17 compared to now? And this is for all of the panelists.
I would say what I do say to I teach high school English. So I am working with 14 through 17-year-olds every single day. I would say what I've said before, you've got to take a selfie. You have to stop, erase the negativity, find joy in what is, and breathe. And that's not always so easy, but if you when I ask them to come and speak in front of the class or something, just taking a small step, and I tell them you need to breathe and then just do it. It's all mindset. Everything starts here. And so maybe that means you go out you don't feel included in, go out by yourself and go for a walk. You feel like something is happening to you or whatever, just taking a small step, or even just, you know what, I don't like the way that teacher was talking to me. Email that teacher. Go ahead, do it. And you can BCC me, I tell them, if you want to, whatever. But just take a small step and breathe through it and just do something small to move yourself forward. So that is what I tell my students. I teach a Believe in Your Selfie, This Is Me classroom, and we take small steps here. We do one little thing that will be cumulative in the long run. So I wish I knew that before I was 39, but I'm paying it forward to the students that I have access to now.
Definitely. No, that's one of the biggest things that I wish I would have known was the importance of self-care. And that self-care isn't always, okay, I'm going to take 3 hours out my day today and I'm going to take a bubble bath and then I'm going to do a facial and then I'm going to do a hair mask and then I'm going to make a milkshake. My form of self-care is once every 2 to 3 weeks, I go get my nails done. That is if I do nothing else between work and school and everything else, I make an appointment every 2 weeks and I get my nails done. Or I come home and I take a hot shower, heat all the way up, steam coming through the door. I take my hot shower. And I wish that when I was 17, the same thing, I would have known that just the tiniest thing, as long as it's for you and as long as it's giving you a second to breathe, it can make a world of difference, a world of difference. It doesn't,
I would tell my 17-year-old self, I actually remember I wrote a scholarship essay. I did not get the scholarship, but in the essay, I wrote out, like, I want to be a news reporter. I want to go to college. I want to get an internship. And, I want to be this newscaster, share information and research different topics. I wrote it, but I didn't necessarily believe it. My 17-year-old self, very self-conscious, kind of shy, just like, I don't think I could really do it. No, I went to college. I changed my major 4 times. My parents, it's exactly what my sister did, but, I did exactly, my parents didn't like that. So my senior year in college, I was like, let me take this TV news class, see what it's about. I kind of want to do this, but I don't really believe that I can do it. I took it and I loved it, did amazing, ended up taking it twice. And that's how I got my internship. That's how I got my job. So I would tell my 17-year-old self, believe yourself, believe in you. Like, what you want to do. You know what you're capable of. You know that you are a hard worker and you more than anyone else. So that's what I would tell my 17-year-old self. And, I would definitely just go after my initial goal.
I was over here trying to find my TED Talk. You talked about confidence, right? I'm going to put it in the chat. 2 things, vision and confidence. I'm going to put them in the chat. I know y'all thought I was cockeyed, but I was looking around trying to find the links on my website. So I think what you just spoke to, Kiana, is this culture that we come up in, and it's a culture of acceptance. And I was just talking about this on a seminar earlier this week. We are not taught at any point of our schooling to really turn the mirror back and discover who we are, right? We're taught to take tests. We're taught to get accepted for the scholarship, accepted to college, accepted to grad school, accepted marriage proposal, accepted for the housing. Like, at what point in time do we have an opportunity to say, hey, I'm a really good artist. Let me go ahead and put my budget together. Oh, I haven't been taught how to do a budget. Oh, okay, so that coursework isn't available. Okay, and what about we don't learn about doing taxes either. Like, you have to give yourself some grace and know that we haven't had an opportunity in this lifetime. I don't know what school you've gone to, but Newport News Public Schools was excellent schooling. We always say we would go back and do it again. But we're in a system that you don't have time to reflect and really discover who you are, right? And so when you see that vision, I have an entire series called Envision now, because that's what got me off of my corporate job. When I sat at my desk and I was like, so is this it? Is this what? So we went to school and then college and then 40 years of this. What happens when I leave? And I called my best friend and she was like, normally people are so sick, they can't enjoy their retirement or they die prematurely. And I was like, so yeah, nah, look, if I'm on and look, this is the Dr. Bobby Banks, right? When I said I have my own brand, I can come with the best of them and give you the 13 syllable words, but this is the Bobby that my homegirl on this panel knows from high school, right? If it is my last day on this planet Earth, I want to know that I pursued my dreams, right? And that I had the resources to make it happen. And I had the confidence to step out on that stage and make it happen. So I don't have 2 hours to tell you about it, but look at the links in the chat. The 2 things are be confident. And I know people say this all the time, do it scared, do it scared. You did it scared, man. You did 4 majors. I wouldn't look down on that. There are people who went through medical school and found out after 12 years and $200,000 in loans, that's not what they wanted to do. So you had enough courage to be like, so yeah, nah. I call that courage. I don't call that like missing a target. I call that courage. I call that self-exploration. So have a vision. If it needs to move or shake or be tweaked, don't be scared. Don't be scared about what other people are gonna say. That's, again, why are you in my business? Why are you worried? And the other thing is just really have the confidence to step out. And I highly encourage you, if you have 15 minutes, to take a look at that TED Talk. And this ain't me doing self-promotion. This is my evolution as a Black girl in this country where I've never seen versions of me in spaces. I'm just now learning as a grown woman, like, what? A Black woman put a man on the moon? Like, a Black woman, like, calculated the orbit? Like, I'm learning how great we are. And I know that's over. I know you can overlay that on every demographic. Miss Kelly, I know if we go back and we start digging in the history books, we've been great. We've been so good and so great that people had to hide us in back rooms. So, vision, confidence, have it, own it.
Definitely, definitely. No, confidence is, it takes you everywhere, and it can take you so far as long as you believe in yourself. Who matters who doesn't believe in you? If you believe in yourself, that's all you need, and you got it. You can go forth and you can get that dream. You can go after that promotion. You can get that dream job. You can open that business. You can do whatever you put your mind to, as long as you are confident in yourself and you know that no matter what happens, nothing is going to shake you, nothing is going to break you, nothing is going to make you not you. You got this.
And if you fail, that's okay too. My dad always said failing doesn't make you a failure. You pick yourself up, keep going, mind your business, and you keep doing what you're doing. Okay, I'm done.
I love it, Dr. Banks. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I think this is just so relevant to our conversation about social media and the usage of our phones. I just want to, like, if I could go back in time, especially to the me that, of course, I had mentioned that I had changed my appearance, or I was starting to change my appearance based on what I thought was the beauty standard. And that was just really relevant during that time as a teenager from 16 to 18, where I was experiencing the full breadth of that. I just want to ask this question to all of our listeners. Are you doing it because it makes you happy? Or are you doing it to validate the opinion of somebody that you may not even know? Are you doing it for a like? Are you doing it for a share? Or are you doing it because it makes you happy? That's where the authenticity comes in. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel confident, and live in that every second that you can, because that's where the power comes from.
Definitely, definitely. It's really huge, to make sure that you want to do something that you're good at, and you want to, it's, I know for me, it was always hard because I wanted to make sure I was doing something that I felt good and I was confident in, but I had a lot of pressure from my family and from my peers to make sure that I was doing what everybody says was right. It was right for me to be in 300 different organizations and be the chairs of 17 and do all of that, and nothing's wrong with that at all, nothing at all. But you want to make sure that we're doing what's happy, and you're doing what's making you happy, and you're not trying to make everybody else happy too. Ms. Patterson or Dr. Did you have one last thing you wanted to shout out? What, something you could tell? You already did, didn't you? Something you could tell your 17-year-old self. You did. That's my bad. Now, this was such a great discussion, and I just want to thank everybody for their time. Dr. Bobby Banks, Dr. Chantel Scott, Ms. Kiana Patterson, and Ms. Dot Kelly, Ms. Virginia. It was a pleasure and an honor having you here and having you speak to us today, just how we can grow as women and about our confidence and the importance of self-confidence and self-care and things like that. So again, I just want to thank you on behalf of myself, because I loved hearing from you guys, and on behalf of NNPS, thank you for participating with us today, and for giving us such wonderful insight on how we can grow as young women.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Let's give Maria a hand. Good job, Maria. Thank you so much. All right, ladies, we know how to find you now. Thank you so much. Don't be surprised if we come back and invite you again. You were amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Did you want to say something else, Christina? Do you want to close this out?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I feel like I took away just as much as every single girl who was on here today. I had to get on Facebook and shout it out and share it and tell all the parents to get on and make sure that, you know, their kids are a part of it too, because our girls just really, really needed to hear what you poured into them today. So thank you.
Christina, can you tell them about the power of networks? Can you tell them that we were classmates from 93 to 97 and you reached out to me and I was like, yeah, girl.
Sure enough, look, okay.
Don't ever lose that sisterhood and networks. You talked about that too, Ms. Jones. Don't lose sight of powerful people in your network.
Absolutely, absolutely. As soon as we decided that we knew this was something that we needed our girls to hear, Miss Adams and I started talking, and I was like, listen, I got the one. And you know what? This is a positive use of social media, because Bobby and I have been able to stay connected, you know, like we said, since 1997. I've not seen each other in person since then, but it doesn't mean the friendships changed one bit. Like, we're still down, still girls. And as soon as I called her, she's like, yes, we're doing this. So power in the network, power in positive relationships. Thank you, girl. Love you.
Love y'all.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you so much. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, students.